Craig Owen is having enough trouble trying to care for a child. Last thing he needs is the return of his old friend, the doctor. But as ever, trouble seems to have followed to the doctor, this time with a silvery shine. Welcome, friends and companions! This is Enigmatic Joker. How are you today? I'm doing great, fantastic, in terms of Ninth Doctor. Sci-fi and fantasy fans, and actually all sort of fans meet on this channel for fun chats about their beloved books, movies, series, and franchises. We also talk about the food and drinks, music, and sport, and we have a special place on this channel for Doctor Who, my most beloved sci-fi series. I will watch this series till eternity. And this channel is also one of the goals of this channel is to make friends. Actually, meet you. And this channel has multiple names. I generate regularly, but most of the time this channel is called Random Entertainment Channel. Random because we discuss everything that involves entertainment, including movies and series, books and music. And we don't dive deep into topics like religion or politics. We want to have fun and entertainment, laughter and jokes and humor. So join. So random goes will broadcast on non-fixed time, actually many different times. It's also the case with a doctor who travels through time and space with his TARDIS in past, present, and future. And the fact is that this world has different time zones. So I have decided to do a live stream on in one time and then another time. So the reason I do this because I want to meet you. I want to match people as possible and reach people as much as possible and serve people as much as possible. So you need to subscribe to this channel to know what time the broadcast is. Yes. Go with the flow. Random also because we have no guests or different guests. It depends on what you show me in live stream or panel. If you want to show me in live stream, feel free to contact me via Discord server. You can contact me and meet me there. And YouTube, you can put a comment on one of the videos of this channel. And we will look what is possible, my friends. So you are invited. And also it's possible to invite me for your channel. I'm available for your channel to join in a panel, in a live stream, to talk about the things we are interested in, what our questions are, what we are enthusiastic about. So feel free to contact me about and feel free to invite me for that also. So the Discord server is called Random Entertainment Channel Tech Doctor Who on Discord, and you find me very quick because I bump the server regularly. So cheers, mate, and have lots of fun. This is your host, Enigmatic Joker. Yeah. So today, yes, we have 11 Doctor Theory with Matt Smith. Yes. Matt Smith. And this story is called Closing Time, and that's with Cyberman. Yeah. So, as usual, we will go now into general info. So, okay, let's start. Closing Time was the 12th and penultimate episode of Series 6 of Doctor Who. A huge time gap in the Doctor's personal timeline is implied to have taken place between this story and the previous. It's also shown how the Doctor got his Stetson and TARDIS blue envelopes. It also saw the return of the Cybermets, and the final time the Cybers-like Cybermen serve a major role in television story until 2070's The Doctor Falls, with 12th Doctor Peter Capaldi. It also continues the theme of having Cybermen in the 12th episode of a series, something that continued through Stephen Moffat's tenure as showrunner, which started back in the Pandorica Opens. It's also with the 11th Doctor Matt Smith. Although it's not the first time the Cybermen have appeared in 11 Doctor era on television, it is, however, this Doctor's first full episode with them opens. Further, it answered the question of who is inside the astronaut suit that kills the Doctor at like Silencio. It is also shown that more than one silent managed to avoid being killed in the Day of the Moon. The episode is notable for being more humorous and serious, much like The Lodger. In both stories, the comedy comes from the Doctor and Craig's interactions. So it's actually comedy story. Yes, a comedy story. Yes, some variety. Yeah, that's also things I like about Doctor Who, the variety in things. One time it's more serious, and one time it's more humorous, or a mix of that. So this is one of the reasons I like this show very, very much. I'm still passionate about this show. I'm still enthusiastic. Now I'm doing these live streams. I'm so enthusiastic about the Doctor. I like the Doctor. And also, I like all spin-offs like Torchwood and Sarah Jane adventures, for example. I enjoy them very much. It's all in the universe. That's the term. It's all in the universe. Uh, so there's some general info about this story, and now we dive into the plot. So, a spoiler alert in this place. So if you haven't watched and or listened to this episode, this story yet, I highly recommend you to do that. And otherwise, yeah, you can actually still listen to everything I have to say about this. So fasten your seatbelt, and then we'll begin. So at a Sanderson and Granger store in Colchester, two saleswomen rise up the final customers of the night. When one of the saleswomen, Kelly, laments being late for a date, the other, Shona, offers to catch up and clean out the changing rooms for her. The lights in the department store flicker ominously as Kelly leaves. Shona is left annoyed by the clothing and lingerie scattered in the changing room. Kelly had better be thankful she's doing this for her. Shona begins picking up the clothes, noticing that someone is still using the stall at the far end. After repeatedly warning that the store is closing, she pulls back the curtain and screams in terror. A Cyberman faces her. At the same time, Sophie prepares to leave for a weekend holiday. She expresses unease at leaving Craig in charge of the house. But Craig tells her that she needs this time to rest. Sophie tells him nervously that their respective parents and innocent people may call to check up on him. She leaves and Craig begins calling everyone Sophie phones to check up on him, telling them that he can handle things on his own. He then hears someone knocking on the door and thinking Sophie came back, opens it, saying he's coping on his own. In the humorous sense of déjà vu, the doctor is the one at the door instead of Sophie. Ah, ah. With a smile, the doctor says, "Hello, Craig. I'm back." Woohoo! So, let the humor begin. Yeah, yeah. So Craig is left dumbfounded by the doctor's appearance, asking how could Sophie get a hold of him. The doctor claims he's just popped around to say hello, making house call is something he's never done before. He comments that Craig has redecorated, saying he doesn't like it. Craig laughs and tells the doctor that he lives in a house now. Since they've exchanged pleasantries, the doctor turns to leave, but then he notices the porch light is flickering. His suspicions raised, he forces himself into the house and begins scanning with a sonic screwdriver, noting that there are increased amounts of sulfur emissions, that the stairs are a mess. Craig tells to silence the doctor, who ignores him upon noticing the sonic has picked up a live signal. The doctor rushes upstairs and swings open a door, demanding the occupant leave the planet. Instead of the alien menace he is expecting, he discovers a crying baby. It is Alfie, Greg and Sophie's son. The doctor sits in the kitchen, watching as Greg tries to calm the crying Alfie, whom the doctor's blunder had woken. Greg admits he can't cope on his own. Alfie cries the whole time. Greg even wonders if babies have off switches, to which the doctor quips, "Human beings? No, believe me, I checked." The doctor remedies the problem by shushing Alfie, who immediately quiets. Greg continues to request parenting hints, so the doctor, who speaks baby, informs him that Alfie prefers to be called Stormageddon, Dark Lord of all. That he refers to Sophie as mum, Greg as not mum, the doctor as also not mum, and everyone else as peasants. So Greg wonders why the doctor has come, refusing to believe that he's merely making a social call. The doctor explains he thought he might try one out since he never has. Greg says that he checked the upstairs when they moved into their new house, and his next door neighbors on both sides are humans. He then jokingly asks if aliens are in his fridge. The doctor, however, is merely on a bit of a farewell tour, and Greg is his last stop. Nevertheless, as they converse, he is troubled by a story in the newspaper. Greg comments that the doctor has his noticing face on, which he has nightmares about. The doctor insists he is not noticing anything, and even if he did, he would not get involved this time. The doctor departs with another goodbye, preparing to go see the alignment of Exodor, which is locked in a time stasis field, preventing him from making more than one attempt at seeing it. As he returns to the TARDIS, he continues to notice the flickering lights, taking more scans with the Sonic, but again tells himself that he will not get involved. The next day, the doctor has started a job at the Sanderson and Granger's toy department. He demonstrates a toy helicopter to excited children, explaining that while nearly £50 is a lot to pay for it, it's their parents' cash, which would be wasted on boring things like lamps and vegetables. Craig arrives with Alfie and is naturally confused. He asks, he asks why the doctor is still around. The doctor says that he impulsively decided to get a job and happily remarks on having been given a name tag, as he does tend to forget his name. Craig accidentally kicks a toy dog, which the doctor picks up, reminiscing about robot dogs and claiming that they are not as fun as he remembers. Probably K9, huh? Or, yeah. So the doctor places the toy on the ground as he notices a small robotic gadget whiz around the shop. He quickly begins inspecting the area it went past. Hello, US and the Shadow Striker. Craig persists with the idea that the doctor is in town to investigate something, and the doctor finally relents, explaining that recent disappearances of people have coincided with power fluctuations. So Craig is confused. The incidents haven't been in the news. Doctor shows Craig a newspaper, explaining the public's attention is more focused on Britain's Got Talent. The disappearances are listed on other pages, therefore nobody sees the pattern. He escorts Craig and Alfie out of the store into a broken lift, which he repairs with a sonic screwdriver. Boarding the lift with them, The doctor explains that someone has been using a teleport relay inside the shop and that the CCTV footage has been wiped, preventing any evidence. Suddenly, the elevator appears to dissolve around them. Crack is not immediately aware of it, thinking it another power issue. The doctor, however, can see that they have stumbled upon the aforementioned teleport and are now on board an alien spaceship. He tries to distract Craig by claiming to love him, but Craig turns and notices the ship just as Cyberman approaches. The doctor quickly explains that he doesn't actually love Craig except as a friend, and then reverses the teleporter, returning them to the lift. Explaining what a Cyberman is, the doctor goes outside with Craig and attempts to scan space for a cybership. There is no positive result. The doctor orders Craig to take Alfie and leave Colchester, but Craig knows the safest place for him, and his son is next to the doctor. Flattered by Craig's trust in him, the doctor allows him to stay and help investigate. He tells Craig to look around, notice everything, and ask questions. He suggests that people will be more open to him because he has a baby. This is why the doctor usually brings a human companion with him, he says. They separate to cover more ground. The doctor talks with Val, a chatty perfume saleswoman, who is mistaking him and Craig for romantic partners. Getting their wires crossed, the doctor thinks she means the word in a professional sense, wondering if partner is a better word than companion. Equally of the same page, Val says the wording is old fashioned. There's no need to be indirect these days. Val then goes on to talk about a scandal going on with two other employees. Seeing that he's getting nowhere, the doctor decides to leave and ask someone else. As he leaves, Val mentions a silver rat with glowing red eyes. This prompts him to turn around in shock, as he saw it as well. She takes him to the toy department, explaining that she wanted the silver rat for her nephew, but the stockroom says they don't have such a thing. The doctor, with a net to capture the suspicious toy, shortly says, I bet they do. In the meantime, Craig is less successful, poorly choosing lingerie as his investigation spot. His attempts to talk to Kelly, due to trying to act cool, are misconstrued as harassment, and he accidentally knocks over a lingerie display while trying to escape the wrath of George, the burly security guard. He compliments George's uniform to try pacifying him, but is unsuccessful. At the same time, the doctor hears the commotion and runs over to help. He is warmly greeted by Kelly and George. He introduces them to Craig, ending the tension. The doctor compliments George's uniform, and unlike Craig, is thanked. Kelly mentions Shona didn't turn up for work, complaining about having to work harder to cover for her. The doctor suspects Shona has gone missing as well. The doctor and Craig look through the changing rooms where Shona was last seen. Craig is furious. Following the doctor's orders, he humiliated him in front of his son. The doctor tells Craig that Alfie thinks he should believe in himself more. He uses the sonic to scan the changing room and deduces that the siren man took Shona the night before. The silver rat that Val saw is a siren mat, an infiltrator that's been responsible for the electrical fluctuations. It's harvesting power. The doctor doesn't understand why the siren man would target a shop as opposed to a nuclear power station. To answer his questions, the doctor decides to capture the Cybermet. Increasingly distressed by these recent events, Craig wonders why aliens only turn up in Colchester when the doctor is around. The doctor claims that it's merely a coincidence, which is what the universe does for fun. As Craig goes to change Alfie, the doctor then notices Amy and Rory walk in his direction from across the shop, unaware of his presence. A little girl named Ellie stops Amy and asks for her autograph. As the doctor hides, so they don't see him, he notices Amy's photo on and on an ad for a perfume called Petrichor for the girl who's tired of waiting. The doctor can only smile. That night, the doctor and Craig remain in the store after it closes and wait for the siren. Craig laments, telling everyone that he didn't need their help as leaving Alfie with a babysitter would be safer. Alfie wishes it would be a hot one, and when the siren shows itself, the doctor captured it. Meanwhile, in the basement, George is inspecting the fuse boxes when he's attacked by a siren. The doctor and Craig hear his screaming. The doctor immediately rushes to his aid but is knocked out by one of the siren. On regaining consciousness, the doctor finds Craig looking over him. The siren did not kill him because it was weak and made of spare parts. The doctor expresses confusion as to how the siren have traveled there, given that he shut down the teleport relay and it should have taken them in days to repair it. They return to Craig's house. As the doctor examines the siren, Craig tells him he's going to get more milk, leaving the doctor in charge of Alfie. Alfie begins crying as soon as Craig leaves, and the doctor leaves the siren unattended to go comfort him. The doctor tells Alfie to save his tears for later, as there's a spiritual emptiness of adulthood waiting for him. However, the doctor realizes it's his old age talking, going on to say that he gave everything 110%. The Psymet, which has reactivated itself, sneaks up behind the doctor. He's able to stun it with the sonic and escapes outside with Elfie. However, as he moves to go back into the house, he realizes that the door has locked behind him and he has dropped his sonic screwdriver inside. Greg returns home, not realizing the danger, and is attacked by the Cybermen. The doctor hears Greg's cries for help, crashes through the back window, and rescues him. Trying several times to hold down their adversary, the doctor has Greg pin the Cybermet under a baking tray while he fries its memory with a sonic to make it benign. Later, as the doctor reprograms Cybermet, Greg wonders about its presence. The doctor doesn't understand why the cyber ship needs so much power and why the conversions of the missing people are incomplete. He continues to feel guilt for letting Craig stay to help him, referring to himself as a selfish man who puts people in danger. Craig reminds the doctor that, if not for him, the entire planet would be in ruin, leading the doctor to tell him sadly that he will not be around for much longer. His time is running out and he's set to die tomorrow. However, when he turns back, Craig and Alfie have fallen asleep. He smiles sadly. The next morning, the doctor returns with Bitey, the Cybermet, to the shop. When Craig wakes, he finds a message from the doctor that he is gone to stop the Cyberman. So he calls and leaves a message saying she will be home soon. Craig readies himself and Alfie to go help the doctor because, as Craig explains to Alfie, he will not have him or Sophie if not for the doctor. The doctor always needs someone to help. He just can't admit it. At the department store, the doctor deduces that secondary transport must exist. He runs into Val, barely paying attention to her. She says that he's found the silver red. The doctor retorts, but where are the silver men? Continuing his search, he finds a passageway behind the mirror in a changing room where Shona was taken. He follows it down to a crashed cybership. While he investigates the control room, he is confronted by one of the Cybermen. The doctor realizes what happened. The cyber ship crashed centuries earlier with a single dormant survivor, and when the town council began laying cables, the Cybermen activated a tunnel to the surface to salvage power for the ship's systems. The Cybermen announces that they will re-emerge when they are ready and convert the planet. 6 Cybermen are sufficient. The Doctor offers them a choice: deactivate willingly or be deactivated by force. As he prepares to make good on this threat, a second Cyberman appears and holds him in place. At the same time, Craig arrives in the shop and leaves Elfie with Val, warning her not to follow him. Unfortunately, she misunderstands the reason entirely. He finds the entrance the doctor used and searches for something he can use as a weapon. Seeing a prize gun, he reasons that the Cyberman won't know what it is and he can bluff. In the ship, the first Cyberman claims the doctor will be their new leader, but the second recognizes that his binary vascular system makes him incompatible. Instead, they will use him for parts and discard that they don't need. Craig appears and threatens the Cyberman with his prize gun. The doctor orders Craig to leave, but it's too late. One of the Cybermen recognizes Craig's compatibility and declares him their new leader. They begin preparing him for conversion, despite his protests, telling him that they will take away his fear. The doctor pleads with Craig to think of Elfie and finally declares that he is going to die tomorrow, but he doesn't mind that if Craig can't prove him right. However, Craig is unable to escape or resist. The doctor can only watch as the cyber armor assimilates Craig entirely. Above, Elfie seems to sense the danger Craig is in and begins to cry. This sound is picked up on the cyber ship and heard by all on board. As the Cybermen declare that Craig's conversion is complete, something changes. Craig's emotional systems begins to reboot themselves after hearing his child crying. His his faceplate splits down the middle, springing open to reveal Craig. He fights his way out of the armor to get to Elfie, but Doctor realizes Craig's rejection of the conversion triggered a feedback loop. The Cybermen begin to feel everything they cut out of themselves and suffer from an overload. This will lead to a very big explosion. As they realize that the way they came in is cut off, the Doctor remembers the teleport and fuses it back together. As as they dematerialize, the cyber ship explodes. In the shop above, the lift doors open and Craig runs out, calling for Elfie. The doctor informs Craig that Elfie has given him a 10 out of 10. Craig boasts about blowing the cyber ship up with love. The doctor begins to explain the exact process in its technical terms, but ultimately concedes that Craig indeed blew it up with love. Later, as Craig converses with Val, who has wrongly concluded that Craig and the doctor are a couple, he realizes that the doctor has disappeared. He returns home to find the house spotless and the doctor preparing to leave. The doctor reveals that Alfie prefers the name Alfie now and is calling Craig Dad instead of not Mom. Craig realizes that something is wrong and offers to help the doctor in any way he can, but the doctor is certain that no one can help him. He asks if Sophie will mind if he helps himself to some of her TARDIS blue envelopes. Hearing he is going to America, Craig also gives the doctor a Stetson before leaving. Sophie returns home and is astonished when Alfie happily calls out the word Doctor. She then questions Craig, now very sure that something had happened while he was away. The doctor returns to the TARDIS, passing a trio of schoolchildren playing in the street. They stop their game and stare at him in wonder. He introduces himself, telling them that he was there to help and that they're very, very welcome. At the Luna University in the 52nd century, River Song reads accounts from these children of the doctor's last days. She opens her diary to a page that contains only the date and time of his death. When Madame Covarian steps out of the shadows, chanting a mysterious nursery rhyme that she claims has to do with the doctor. As River tries to remember who the woman is, Covarian orders her not to bother because they've been far too thorough with her memory. Two of the silence appear behind River. Covarian introduces them as River's owners and calls her Melody Pond. River is astonished, prompting the woman to declare that she made River who she is, the woman who kills the doctor. As River protests, two members of the church enter the library with an Apollo astronaut's suit. They inject River with a sedative and she loses consciousness. When River awakes, she finds herself submerged below the surface of Lake Silencio in the Apollo astronaut's suit, awaiting the doctor. And that's, my friends and companions, is the end of the story. Closing time. I will name some cast members. The Doctor is played by Matt Smith. Amy Pond is played by Karen Gillan. Rory is played by Arthur Darvill. Craig Owens is played by James Corden. That's a good friend of Matt Smith. Sophie is played by Daisy Haggard. River Song is played by Alex Kingston. Madame Covarian is played by Frances Barber. Shona is played by Siroka Davis. Kelly is played by Holly Dempsey. George is played by Chris Obi. Val is played by Linda Barron. Simon is played by Paul Casey. And the voice of the Simon is voiced by Nicholas Briggs. Some world building. 4 points with the Doctor. Val believes Doctor and Craig are in a romantic relationship. Second thing is Doctor mentions that the RoboDog is not as much fun as I remember, referring to K9. Third thing is that the Doctor can make people quiet by simply saying shh. And Craig suggests this is hypnosis. And the fourth thing is that the Doctor acknowledges that he and Craig do not have a memory glands. Some world building with Earth business. There's a water stones opposite Sanderson and Granger. And the second thing is that also nearby is a house of Fraser. Some world building in Cybermen. And one thing is that the Cybermen attempt to convert Craig into a cyber controller. Then some world building with culture from the real world. Craig has a copy of Can You Jojo 2. Second thing is that Craig asks if the Cyberman's teleport is like Beam Me Up from Star Trek. Third thing is that Kelly complains that the power went out while she was watching Top Model. And the fourth thing is that a techno fan by the Wombats plays in Sanderson and Granger. Another thing is that fashion and clothing. The Doctor buys Craig a papoose to carry Alfie in. And Craig gives the Doctor a Stetson as a parting gift. Some world building with individuals is that Sean and Melinda are mentioned. And Atif Ghosh mysteriously disappeared on a Friday in the department store. And Tom Luker mysteriously disappeared on a Sunday. And last thing in world building's history is that Craig is familiar with the Cybermen, even though they invaded the Earth during the Battle of Canary Wharf. Interesting fact. Some notes. some interesting things is that in the possible estimate, the different versions of the Doctor give their ages as 909 and 1103. And writer Garrett Roberts confirmed in an interview that this is indeed 200 years after the God complex for the Doctor, that he spent these years waving at Amy and Rory through history books as established by the impossible astronaut. Another thing is that part of the nursery rhyme that was heard in Night Terrors is sung by Madame Cavarian with new lines. Um, Another interesting note is that this is the first time since the series revival in 2005 that episode 12 has not been part of a multi-part story written by the head writer. The end thus set up the series finale. Another interesting thing is that this is the first television story to feature a Cyberman since the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, story, Revenge of the Cybermen. They had been redesigned with biological teeth and gums. Another thing is that this is also the first regular season episode since the series revival in which the Doctor does not have an ongoing companion with him at some point. But Karen Gillan and Archie Dover were credited in the opener as they have been during the rest of the season. This is the first time in the series that any actor's name had appeared in opening credits for less than 1 minute of on-screen appearance. Another thing in a nice note is that Garrett Roberts said in an interview that he was considering bringing Craig back when he saw James Corden's performance in Lodger. It's also a humorous episode, a story, saying that it already felt like it was one of the Wu family. So then again, uh, another thing is that the app for disabling the Cybermet used one of the bonus sounds found on the toy version of the 11th Doctor's Son Screwdriver, unheard on the show until now. Also, an interesting thing is that it's the first television story since the series revival in which Cybermen are not armed with any type of weaponry. Cybermen who are seen have visible gaps in their forearm armor where they would normally have blasters, and they are not seen electrocuting anyone. Another thing is that this is the second time where Craig's affection for someone has saved the day. In the Lodger, Craig's love for Sophie motivates his desire to stay where he is, enabling him to destroy the alien time machine. In this case, his love for his son enables him to defeat the Cybermen. It's also some same thing, yeah, the same thing in it. Um, Again, this is the third time that the Cybermen have appeared in the penultimate episode of a series. Uh, um, okay. Um, Another interesting thing is that the Doctor being able to speak baby was added late in the development, and Stephen Moffat came up with the idea while writing A Good Man Goes to War. Mm. Another thing is that much of the episode was filmed in Howell's department store in Cardiff. Uh, so um, Another interesting note is that the Cybers Industries logo, which had been used on the Cybermen since their redesign for the revived series, was covered up for the Cybermen in this episode, as well as the ones which had previously appeared. This is because Cybermen in the modern series originated from Pete's world, parallel universe, while the Doctor's universe has its own Cybermen from the planet Mondas, as seen in the classic series. As the Cybermen that feature here were barely surviving, the production team made them look broken down and as if they had been cannibalizing parts to survive. The suits were already worn to an extent, as they had been used too often in the 5 years since they were made. Another interesting thing is that the Cybermets were redesigned to appear more high tech. The top was designed to recall the head of a Cyberman and piranha like teeth were added to suggest that they were converted animals, just as Cybermen were converted humans. So, so these are some interesting things. For more info about Cybermen in the modern series originated from Pete's world and the parallel universe, and in its own Doctor Who's own universe, its own Cybermen from planet Mondes. That more info is from die can actually that can on a little bit later. So it's not for this live stream. Okay, we're gonna go to the continuity because in the universe, stories and episodes are to some extent related to each other, are linked to each other, referencing to each other, and for influence to each other. And every time I rewatch a story and episode, I discover new things. And there are some things, and it's also, of course, also an thing, interpretation of the fan. There is something in continuity, and that's the following. Um, First thing is that the doctor expressed disappointment that Craig didn't name his son Doctor. The first doctor previously suggested the child be named Doctor in the audio story The Invention of Death, and Jackie Tyler once joked that she named her son Doctor before revealing that his name was Tony in TV story Johnny's End. A second thing is that Craig recalls his previous alien encounter with the Doctor. That's TV story The Lodger. The Doctor can speak baby, and that's a TV story A Good Man Goes to War. Another thing is that the Doctor has previously expressed annoyance at his opponents for cheating, and that's a story linked to a TV story The Unicorn and the Wasp, with the 10th Doctor and Donna Noble. Posters seen by the Doctor in the department store and indicate that Amy has taken up a modeling career. She's seen advertising a fragrance named Petrichor, and is a link to TV story The Doctor's Wife. The perfume Petrichor bears the slogan for the girl who's tired of waiting, a reference to the Doctor's description of Amy as the girl who waited. TV story 11th Hour and the girl who waited. When the Doctor thinks that Craig has redecorated, he says that he doesn't like it. This is similar to the second Doctor's comments to the third Doctor about decorating the TARDIS. Seen in TV special The Three Doctors with William Hartnell and Patrick Towden and John Pertwee. And again, when the second Doctor saw Unit AQ in a TV story The Five Doctors with William Martin with Rundle and Troughton and John Pertwee and a cameo of John Baker and of course Peter Davison. So the Fifth Doctor similarly expressed dislike for a TARDIS redecoration upon meeting the Tenth Doctor in the TV mini episode Time Crash. As with the Fifth Doctor, Peter Davison, and the Tenth Doctor, uh, David Tennant. Another thing is that Doctor takes some TARDIS blue envelopes from Craig's house and Craig gives him a Stetson as a parting gift. There's a TV story, The Impossible Astronaut. Aware of his impending death, the Doctor goes on another farewell tour in TV story The End of Time. And that is with 10th Doctor David Tennant and his companion Wilf. Another thing that Craig shows of the conversion process. Craig throws off the conversion process. Mercy Hardigan also did so shortly before death in TV story The Next Doctor. That is also with the 10th Doctor, David Tennant, and with the companions Jackson and Rosita. And actually, it was a Christmas special of 2008. Next thing is that the Doctor says he always gives a choice to his enemies. He's often done so in the recent past. For example, the Nestine consciousness in Rose, the Slatine family in World War III, the Empress of the Ragnos in the Runaway Bride, the Cyber King in Next Doctor, the Silence in Day of the Moon. But such offers are rarely taken, as we all know. They all go their own way. They make their own decision. They could better can listen to the doctor, but yeah, doctor gives them a fair chance. So, next thing is that while talking about name tags, the doctor suggests he sometimes forgets his identity. That's the case in the TV movie Doctor Who from 1996 with Paul McGann. Castrovalva with the fifth Doctor Peter Davison. Time and the Rani. That's with the Seventh Doctor. Yes, the Seventh Doctor and Mel. Sylvester McCoy. And Human Nature. That's with the 10th Doctor. Fob Watch. And in prose, the 8 Doctors. Another thing is that when Craig resists the conversion, a light cuts down the center of the Cyberhead, and it opens up much like the Cyberman head that confronted Amy in the TV story The Pandora Opens. Another interesting thing is that Doctor has had to deal with an alien menace based in or below a department store before. However, this time when he blows it up, the store isn't destroyed, and that is in the first story in revived story Rose with the 9th Doctor Christopher Eccleston and Rose, of course, Rose Tyler. The Doctor performs his odd greeting kiss in TV story Lodger and Night Terrors. The Doctor again says not a rat, a Cyberman. It's also in Revenge of the Cybermen, and that is with the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, and Sarah Jane Smith. Another thing is that when the Doctor asks if the Cybermen could take the humans out with only 6 Cybermen, they claim they could take them out with only 1 Cyberman. The Daleks previously made a similar claim against the Cybermen themselves in the TV story Doomsday. That's with the 10th Doctor, David Tennant, and Rose and Jackie Tyler. Another thing is that the Cybermen, which captures Shona in the changing rooms, moves into the light without making a stomping sound with its feet. The Tenth Doctor asked the Cybermen in 1851, which sneaked up on him, if they had their legs on silent. That's in TV story, The Next Doctor. Another thing is that the Cybermen used the phrase, "You will be like us." And it's also in the Tomb of the Cybermen with the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, The Rise of the Cybermen, and with the Tenth Doctor and Rose and Mickey, and Doomsday, and in audio real time. The Doctor says, "Come along, Bitey," a variation on the phrase "Come along, Pond." He was fond of using with Amy and occasionally Rory. He also once said, "Come along, Smith," to Sarah James Smith in the TV story Victory of the Daleks. Um, that is with also with Amy, yeah. Um, the Big Bang, The Death of the Doctor, and The Christmas Carol, and Let's Kill Hitler. Another thing is that a cyber ship also crashed into the town of Glimtenberg during the 19th century and attempted converting the local population. You see that in Prose, The Plague of the Cybermen. Another thing is that the Cybermen go mad and die from damage to their emotional inhibitors. It's also in TV story The Invasion. That's with the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, and Jamie and Zoe as companions. And in the Age of Steel, um, with with the Tenth Doctor. And another thing, although not visible in Final Cut of the Giggle, uh, that's with the 14th Doctor, David Tennant, and companion Donna. He was the third and final of the 360 anniversary special of Doctor Who. Uh, so, although not visible in the Final Cut of the Giggle, one shot in the scene set in 1925 so was giving Sanderson and Granger branding. So, and then one on a less interesting note is that the actor who played the actor Linda, the actress Linda Barron, who plays Val in the story, also played Captain Rack in the Doctor Who television story Alignments. And so she played in the Fifth Doctor story by Peter Davison and Tegan and Turlough. So she played Captain Rack in the so. And didn't know that, but I saw suddenly, hey, I know that person, and I saw, yeah, that's Captain Rack who plays now Val, or Linda Baron who plays Val. So very very nice to see that. By the way, Linda Barron is not with us anymore. Rest in peace. She died in 2022. Um, so she was 82 years old. So, and also, years earlier, in 1966, Barron recorded the original song, The Ballad of the Last Chance Saloon, for the soundtrack of the serial The Gunfighters, with the first Doctor William Hartnell and Peter Purvis as Stephen Taylor, and also with who she is Yeah, with Dodo. With Dodo. And he say, the Dodo is played by Jackie Lane. Yes. So, some interesting text about the story. So now some commercial, and then yeah. So sci-fi fantasy fans and all sort of fans meet on this channel for fun chats about their beloved books, movies, series, and franchises. We also talk about the food and drinks, music and sport, and a special place on this channel for Doctor Who. So random, because we're going to discuss everything that involves entertainment, including movies and series, books and music. Random, because we'll be broadcast non-fixed times, actually many different times. You need to subscribe to this channel to know what time the broadcast is. Random, also because we have no guests or different guests. It depends on what you show me in a live stream or panel. If you want to show me in a live stream, feel free to contact me via Discord and YouTube, and we'll look what is possible. And also possible to invite me for your channel. I'm available for your live stream in a panel to talk about the things we're interested in, we are passionate about, we're enthusiastic about. So feel free to invite me also. I'm available for that. I want to contribute and to make friends. So this Discord server is called Random Entertainment Channel Tech Doctor Who. On Discord, invite me very quick because I bump the server regularly. So cheers, mate. Have lots of fun. This is your host, Enigmatic Joker. That's me. So I'm looking forward to meet you next time. And for now, have a nice day. Bye bye. Bye bye.